Hi, my name is Horst. I'm an engineer and in Stuttgart I work for Daimler-Benz. And I can proudly announce this punk talk for bad Mongols. Rock on!
Hello, everybody. Welcome, audience. Welcome to Turbo Radio in 2014. 2013 is finally behind us. It has been a good year as far as Turbo Negro and Turbo is concerned, and we'll be heading into 2014 with Turbo Radio, also with some minor changes. You guys asked us to cut a little bit down on the length of the podcast. Used to be around an hour and 20 minutes. That's obviously too long for you guys. You have seemingly a certain problem with listening to audio for more than an hour, which I am addressing and I'm taking care of, as you are seemingly attention span challenged. But okay, we'll do that. We'll cut it down to an hour, and we will be changing segments. We will be cutting out one of the Turbo Update and Turbo Worldwide segments and have a brand new segment, a shorter segment in the podcast called the MVP, the most valuable patch of my jacket, where we'll be trying to feature Turbo's best patches and give a detailed and really nice audio description of a visual thing. Yes, you got that right. It's a visual thing, but yet we use the wonderful English language to describe this beautiful piece of patch you guys are producing out there in the Turbo universe. We will be starting on this episode with a Turbo discussion about quantity or quality when recruiting Turbo members. What's more important, have a big number of Jugends or be picky and try to select the very best humanoids for your Jugend. And if you really listen closely to that, you will hear a very, very interesting sound in the background. And I will let you judge and think about it. What could that sound really mean? And after the discussion, I will gladly reveal the secret, what really happened in the back streets of Oakland, California.
The Forum. Daft Punk talk and gossip.
So we open the forum again, and I'm raising the question, recruiting new sailors, quality or quantity? And with me this time is from Turbo New York, Jenny Thunders, Mickey Six from Turbo Salzburg, and Bobby Ramone from Turbo in Oakland, California. So I'm happy to have you guys with me. And let's start with Jenny Thunders, because she's, as I know, picking up the slack in New York City and trying to get new sailors on board. Maybe Jenny, you can just describe the current situation in New York City, and how you are trying to get sailors on board.
Okay, so I came on from Brooklyn originally, and there was no New York chapter anymore because Kevin Cole was very busy touring and everything. So I was in Brooklyn, and then our president left, so there was really no active Yugen in any of the boroughs. We have Uptown, but there's only like 3 or 4 people in that, I believe. So Chuck and some of the other ambassadors decided that I should take over New York City and start recruiting new members. Luckily for me, it's been really easy because people are just contacting me. So mainly, like the process that I go through is I make sure that everyone meets with our group, because I want to make sure that we don't have any like weirdos. Well, obviously weirdos is a good thing, but anyone that's
douchebags, weirdos, you name it.
Too dramatic. It seems like there's enough drama. We don't want to bring any more drama in. So yeah.
So for how long have you been in charge of Turbo in New York City?
Like almost 5 months.
Okay, so that's kind of new. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty new.
And how many recruits have you gotten? I mean, how many people does New York City
right
have
now?
Mm-hmm.
We have almost 10 members. And about half of them were people that applied like within like the last few years and never were contacted. So I've met a bunch of them. We've had a few events and they've all came out. They're all really super cool people and nice. So
what would be the first thing you would look at a Jugend if you see a new sailor or possible recruit? What take us through the process of how you're getting the boys on board?
Well, first of all, obviously they have to love Turbo Negro. I've been approached by a lot of people that want to have be a part or whatever, but they don't really know about the band. They just want to be a part of a club.
Yeah.
So obviously you have to love Turbo Negro and just be able to hang out with us and party and
So how many times would you see them to actually until you finally give him the go to join the Jugend?
It really depends case to case. Like some people I've met and instantly like it's been like we've hit it off instantly and they are super cool and we've been like, all right, you're in. And then other people it's like, well, come to a few events and we'll see how it goes from there.
Okay, so would you say with 10 people have you succeeded, or are you still continuing to let new people in, or are you basically done and say 10 people is enough?
Oh no, like we'll totally let in as many cool people that want to join are welcome to join our chapter, but I guess it just depends on how many people are interested,
Mm-hmm. So Bobby, now turning to you. How many people are in your Jugends, and how do you go about recruiting new sailors for the Jugend?
Well, Oakland has, I think we're at 5 now. We're very small. We kind of partner up with San Francisco. Like when we meet, we always meet with San Francisco. I think they have around the same 5 or 6 people that come out on a regular basis, but they also have some members. I think 2 or 3. Like I know Canute is obviously over in Europe, but he's a member with a jacket. So when we get together on a good night, it's 10, 15, together. But I have no problem having a small Jugend because much like I'm sure Jenny has this, I'm sure everyone has this. I'll be at a bar and the most common question is, how do I get one of those jackets? And that's just like the wrong question, It's not really about the jacket. It's about the brotherhood or sisterhood. It's about the family and having fun and, not about how many guys do we have in jackets, but how many quality good people do we have,
So what would your answer be if somebody walks up to you and asks how he can get a hold of a Kuta?
Well, what I do is I try not to be like snobby about it. I like to give that person the opportunity to really find out what it's truly about. So I'll tell them, well, it is a fan club for Turbo Negro, but it's a little bit more than that. It's kind of grown into something that, we respect and take fairly seriously. As serious as you can while grabbing asses and making dick jokes, But it is serious because, we all know. Anyway, so I tell them like exactly what it is. I tell them to go on the website. I give them my phone number. Hey, if you want, or get their phone number, if you want me to call you next time we go out. Basically, you have to hang out a little while. I put it lightly, like you just show your face and hang out. And if we get along, then, we'll take it from there. If you just want a Turbo Negro jacket, luckily, Chuck and Lee are doing the Death Punk jackets now. So if somebody's not interested in getting to know anybody, they can very easily go on the website and buy a Death Punk jacket and problem solved, So that's kind of a nice thing that Chuck put out there just to alleviate any of that.
Yeah. So what would the values be if you like look at a person? What would you like from a personality point of view? What would you like want in your Jugend, Bobby?
we all get along really well, really, really friendly, really zero attitude, zero it's not a biker club. And I think a lot of guys join that don't really know much about the band. They want to join thinking it's just another kind of cool guy, kind of macho club thing. And it's totally not. So I look for a guy has a good sense of humor, or girl has a good sense of humor, can just hang out with us, that matches our personalities and our particular Yugen. And I've had one case where it was a girl and she just didn't really, I could tell her personality just didn't really mesh. Mm-hmm. And she was from an hour away. So I friendly just suggested to her, why don't you start your own chapter where you're from? Like, the more the better. So as far as I know, she may have done that. So it's like Jenny said, it's a case by case thing. You just kind of, you know it when you know it, you know?
Yeah. So since, Oakland and San Francisco and New York are obviously bigger cities where you probably have a kind of regular interaction and regular people walking up to you and wanting to join the Jugend. Salzburg in Austria is a way smaller city, Mickey. And would you say whenever you walk out with your jacket, do you also get a regular approach from people from a smaller town? Is it the same quantity, you would say, like the amount of people that wanting to join a chapter?
It's always when Turbo Negro do a new record. In the year the record comes out, there are a lot of questions like this. It's always like when the common attention of people to the band is growing, then they realize they could ask me this question. That's how I feel. And then in the years where the band wasn't active, nobody cared, and that's the way it goes usually. So now, after the last album, there are a lot of requests actually.
Yeah. So Bobby, are you okay? We all hear the weird sounds in the back. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm totally fine. What kind of sounds are you hearing? There's traffic. Well, I'm on the street.
Well, it sounds like a little bit of wanking, but you know.
I'm really enjoying this conversation.
We're Turbo Jugend, so we can do all the wanking we want. You know, it keeps us alive, basically. But are you okay?
I haven't talked to Mickey in a matter of months, so yeah. I'm pent up.
I perfectly understand. So okay, going back to the discussion. So Mickey, would you say that it's more a seasonal thing when Turbo Negro has an album out? Yeah. People walk up to go, and if not, you're the sole rider, so you're the lonesome rider, more or less in the Salzburg and in the vicinity, which is obviously a smaller town, and maybe not the rock and roll town. I don't want to offend you, but I know Salzburg a little bit, and it's not your Las Vegas, LA style rock and roll town.
Just let me sum it up to like, this town is not made for rock and roll.
Okay. That's what you're there for.
I try to bring rock and roll here. Still, since 10 years I try.
Yeah. So I'm me personally. I'm from Vienna. We have 20 from the Turbo Jugend Sängerknaben, and we have 20 members. And I'm not the original president, but I took over pretty soon because I had so much energy going for that. And out of the 20 Jugends, I would say 5 or 6 are still active Jugend members, and all of the other, they still have the jacket, but they never wear it. And I think it was more or less a hipster, showing off, having a nice jacket, rock and roll lifestyle thing. But do you guys have the same situation, Mickey in Salzburg, that you have lots of members, but only a few show up?
I have like 13, and not all of them have a jacket because some of them are honorary members, and they are just in the club because I wanted them to, because they did something for Turbo Jugend Salzburg. That's also a reason to take someone in who did a lot of flyers or artworks or helping with web pages and things like that. And but it sums up like the half of them is active and the other half is like, some to certain points once a year, then they wear their jacket, or if you just meet them in another city, because some of them moved to other cities, and then you meet them and then you say, when I meet you, I want you to wear the kutte, and then they do it. So it's a little bit like 6 guys and girls always wearing the kutte and being on concerts and things like that, and the other 7 like living somewhere else or not turning up very often.
Yeah. How about you, Jenny, in New York? Is it the same thing? Or, since it's a brand new Jugend, I would think that it's still a very cool thing to regularly wear the kutte when you guys meet.
Yeah, well, the problem is that we haven't, any of our newest members haven't received theirs yet. So we're still waiting on that. A lot of the other, like, older chapters, like Brooklyn and the original New York and stuff, a lot of them don't. Kevin wears his out when he meets up with us, but I think a lot of the other members, like, it's really hard to organize the older members to, like, all meet up in, like, from Brooklyn and stuff like that.
Does it happen that you, if you meet them, that you meet Jugend members and that they're not wearing the kutte at the rock and roll? Obviously not during the day when they are shopping and doing groceries, but at night, does it happen that you meet your Jugend members and they almost they never wear their jacket?
Sometimes there are some people from other chapters that will meet up with us and they don't have it, and we always give them hell about it, but some of them are traveling from other places, so I guess that happens.
Yeah. And with you, Bobby, are you strict with that?
With what? With wearing a jacket out?
Yeah, not wearing it, even though it's a rock and roll event.
Oh, I wear mine grocery shopping. That was funny you said that because I actually do. I wear it all the time. It's, again, we're a small chapter, and it consists of like my brother-in-law, my drummer, his brother. Like, we're literally friends and family. So when we meet up, everyone wears it. San Francisco always wears theirs. But an interesting point to what Stu said, I actually just moved to Oakland like 2 years ago. I started a chapter in Southern California in the city of Oxnard in like 2003. So when I moved up here, I obviously wanted to join. I figured there has to be an Oakland or East Bay chapter. There has to be. And so I went on the .net and was looking around. I found East Bay. I contacted everybody. Nobody responded. Got a hold of Tanner in San Francisco, the president of Turbo A.C.s in San Francisco. And he was like, yeah, those guys, they had jackets 10 years ago. They're one of the original chapters. They're not really active anymore. So I just started my own. And since then, I've actually met one of the East Bay guys at Punk Rock Bowling in Vegas. He was there with his jacket on. So it was kind of neat to actually meet, like, it's like Jenny said, the older guys, you just can't, they're going to do what they want. A lot of these guys have like kids now and don't go out like they used to. And, I think that happens. It's a natural evolution of growing up.
What you're saying is you cannot force it upon them to wear a jacket. That sure is right. And I was actually trying when I first got a hold as a president of my Jugend. I was still younger and far more active and with more energy. And I was trying to force everybody and I was making fun of it, but I just trying to shake them up to wear that kutte, but the reaction was like nothing. But it was okay with me because if they still want to have the jacket in their at home and never wear it, that's fine with me since they're not disturbing anybody. But there have been cases from the Illinois area to Stockholm. There have been quite a few cases of real douchebags within Jugends and actually destroying somehow the reputation of the Jugend. Have you guys experienced some sort of that behavior? Maybe Mickey, you can start. Do you have any real douchebags in your Jugend?
We had one guy who refused to join. He was interested. It was in the beginning of the resurrection of Salzburg Jugend, because I'm also not the original president. I had to join in 2006 or something like that, because I experienced that there's already a Turbo Jugend Salzburg, which I thought I will found. And one guy was very interested because we had this Mozart logo, and he went to some gigs we organized, our Turbo Jugend parties, Turbo Halloween and things like that. And then he just checked the logo somewhere from the internet and made something like a suit where on the back he had our logo, but without really asking. and he refused to wear a kutte or to order a kutte, but he made up his own with our logo. And he's a really strange guy. He's not really a douchebag because he's kind of cool. He's like an artist. So it's not like I really hate him because he is cool, but he always wants to do his own thing. So that's a really strange experience with him. So he's not really a member, but he's going out sometimes with a suit, a real suit. And on the back, he has printed the logo of Turbo Jugend Salzburg. So that's really crazy. But it's the only crazy guy.
That's a good story. Just let him. That's pretty cool. That's fun.
Yeah, I like him still, and he doesn't really want to join. So he's kind of in it, but outside of it, it's really strange.
He's rogue, huh? He's just he does his own thing.
Yeah,
he's an artist after all. Bobby,
yeah, he's an artist. That's nature right there. Yeah.
Have you experienced any douchebags in your Jugend or improper behavior which you could not cope with? I mean, it's a small group; it's 6 people, right? So,
who's this? Me?
Yeah, Bobby, tell us something about your brother, who is a douchebag.
My brother's a chef. He's awesome. He's just he's super busy. He's one of those guys. He actually is sad because he can't come out with us more often because he works every weekend. He has like Tuesday and Wednesday off, and we all have jobs, so we usually go out Friday, Saturday night. But now Zach's a good guy. Zach's far from a douchebag. But I actually had a really uncomfortable situation, and I won't be specific because I don't know who. Hopefully everybody will listen. But there was a guy who moved to Oakland from the East Coast, and I had guys who I liked, pretty respected guys in the Jugend from the East Coast, contact me and say, hey, this guy just moved to Oakland. He never joined our Jugend, but he was just about to meet up with him. You know, Oakland might be the perfect fit for him. I think you guys would really get along. So we went out. It was me, my wife, who's not Jugend, totally by choice. And that's awesome. that's her prerogative, and I totally understand. And a couple of the San Francisco guys and my brother, actually. And he seemed cool. Like, he seemed okay, but there was something off. It wasn't that, like I was saying earlier, you just know it when you know it, and I wasn't really knowing it. It wasn't clicking. So I'm trying to be nice and give him the benefit of the doubt, and I hope, you know, for the sake of my friends who suggested him to me, that it would work out. So I actually, like, just totally coincidentally live in Oakland that are from his town. Hey, what do you know about this guy? Like, is he cool? He seems okay, but I'm not really sure. Come to find out, he's a skinhead. Just trying to get out of his skinhead life, but he still dabbles. And that was it for me. I just said, sorry, guy, you know, no offense. But
was he a right-wing skinhead or
it's not my, I don't know. I won't even mess with that. So,
okay.
I mean, I could see potential for douchebag behavior in the future with him, but I didn't experience it yet. I kind of cut it off at the pass.
You just wanted to make sure. How did you tell him to maybe not join? Bobby?
Yeah. Okay, I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfectly. How did you tell him to not to join or to leave?
I just told him that I didn't think it was really going to be a good fit. I didn't get into I didn't like call him out. I didn't want to confront the guy because I don't know him. I don't owe him that, and he doesn't really deserve to get railed on if he is trying to make a change in his life. And I didn't, you know, like I said, the most important thing from the very beginning, I didn't really feel like a connection with that guy. I felt like he was acting the way like I wanted him to act, saying the things I wanted him to say. It didn't feel like an organic, real friendly meetup, you know?
So Jenny, in New York City, I mean, New York City is a big town, and I think to a certain point has a certain reputation of attracting weird people and interesting people at the same point. Have you experienced within, like, in the half year you've been doing that, any weird people trying to join?
We haven't really had any weird people trying to join yet. Everyone that's actually met up has been really cool. So luckily that I haven't had to tell anyone no or be in an awkward situation with that. But yeah, no, I've definitely encountered some of the weirdness that has gone on in between other chapters and stuff like that, though.
What would you do if something? What would be a weird situation happening to you that you would make you that would make you take some sort of action?
If somebody was offending a member from our own chapter or from another chapter, if they were being rude, just basically if they weren't like adhering to our rules, I suppose, like even though we don't really have a lot of rules, but like if they were being offensive to someone or like starting fights or putting our chapter in jeopardy. There was a situation where one of the members from Brooklyn was wearing a patch that was a 1%er patch. And I actually spoke out about it and was like, it's not okay for us to wear 1%er patches because we're not a motorcycle club. And if we were to come in contact with a motorcycle club and they saw that patch, it's likely that we are all in jeopardy because basically a 1%er patch means that you killed someone.
Yeah.
And
that's a very serious thing that you don't want to get caught up in, for sure. I remember when that happened, I heard about that, like private conversations, like, did you hear about this guy? And it actually wasn't just him. There was a couple of people around the same time that did the same thing. And I think it was just a matter of like pure ignorance. They didn't know what it meant. I was like, This isn't an Occupy. This isn't an Occupy patch. This is a very serious thing. And if the wrong person sees that, they'll do more than just want you to take your jacket off, you know?
Seems like this biker thing is a thing happening more in the US than in Europe, and I think this Sons of Anarchy TV series sort of spikes for some reason makes people want to join motorcycle gangs, but maybe the safe version, and they interpret the Turbo Jugend as a somehow safe environment to get a little bit of biking in.
Yeah.
But, so did he take the patch off, Jenny?
Yes, it was a struggle for a while because he didn't think that he should have to, but he ended up, after being confronted by some other Jugend, he decided to take it off.
Okay. So I mean, look.
Yeah, and it wasn't just him. There was a couple different guys around the same time that did the exact same thing. I remember. You can see it on Facebook all the time that this discussion is more or less constantly on. So, but if you think of sizes of Jugens, and my Jugend in Vienna, it started out as a friends only Turbo Jugend, where I started with friends, and but I have to say that they were pretty close friends, but quite soon or quite early they started not being interested in Turbo Jugend anymore, so I decided to let other people in, and what they would usually do, they would just email me, and then I would make them come to our gatherings or concerts in Vienna to look at them and make them come back for another time, so to see if it's not a one evening wonder, so to say. But I'm as far as I'm concerned, I sort of found out that friends only Turbo Jugend is also not the answer, because usually your friends in real life are maybe not 100% suited for the Turbo Jugend thing. So what do you think about that? Would you recommend the friends only Turbo Jugend, Mickey?
No, I wouldn't, because the problem is that it's not open to other people. That's my main problem with it, and I experienced that in Linz and Stahlstadt. There was something where the same people in the same town have to do a new chapter, because some people say, okay, you can't go with us, and that's not okay, I think, because I think you have to be open-minded, but you have to make up rules. You have to come to 3 or 4 gatherings, we have to drink with you, we have to check you out. If you like us and we like you, you can join. Or what can you do for the Jugend? Can you help with organizing concerts or club meetings? That's okay. So, but I don't think that you should only stick to real friends, because Turbo Jugend is like a family, and family and friends can grow or should grow. And so you should be open-minded to other people. And you are like shut down when you only stick to the friends you already have. That's bullshit.
Yeah, Bobby?
Yeah, I think Mickey's spot on with that. Like, it's being elitist isn't fun for anybody else. And the whole point of Turbo Jugend, I mean, let's be honest. Like, we take it seriously, but it's supposed to just be fun. That's the point. Like, the band is fun. it's fun when we get together, and being a snobby little cool guy club isn't fun for anybody but you and your snobby friends. So you shouldn't even be in the Turbo Yugen if that's your point of view, because it should be about including everybody to the party and having fun and being a big family, not eating at the kids' table by yourself and not inviting anybody else. So I'm with Mickey on that 100%. And I don't, I've had personal experiences around here with guys who were talking bad about the Yugen, maybe out of jealousy, like, I don't need to wear a jacket. I've been rock and roll for 20 years. I never wore a jacket. I like Turbo and Negro, but I don't need to join the KISS Army and blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, they're wearing a jacket. And then next thing you know, their wife has a jacket, who I don't even know likes the band. And if they do like the band, there's obviously no recruiting process there. And I just have to, at that point, go, well, it's not my chapter. That's not what I would do. But it's kind of spreads everything pretty thin and cheapens the meaning of everything if we're just handing out jackets because we want, which is one of the main reasons I wanted to talk on this segment, because that defeats the purpose. We need quality over quantity. It's not about how many jackets you have floating around. It's about how many good people you have going to meetings regularly and treating each other like family. And I think the friends only thing and just immediately recruiting friends just because it's more numbers, both those things are equally, in my opinion, wrong. And that's not how I run my chapter at all.
Yeah. Jenny, how about you? Do you have any close friends in your Jugend?
No, not really. Actually, everyone that's in my Jugend I have became friends with because they've joined.
That's awesome.
I actually, funny enough, I have a friend that we always joke around. We say that she's our hang around, and she's not really into Turbo Negro super big or anything like that. So, but she always comes to all of our events. But she's never been oh, I need to join or whatever. And I've never been you need to get a cut, because it's not it's not really necessary. She can still hang out with us and have a good time, but she doesn't have to be a part of our Jugend to, do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have a couple of those too around Oakland and San Francisco, and I just call them sympathizers. They're Turbo Yugen sympathizers.
Yeah.
They hang out, and it's totally cool. And what's good about it is there's no pressure because they aren't really interested in fully joining. They just like to hang out with us. And they respect the fact that they respect what the Yugen's all about, to the point where they're I don't want a jacket. I don't want to join because I'm not as into it as you guys are. I just want to hang out. And that's great.
Exactly.
That's perfect.
Exactly. So I think we got the whole point of the discussion pretty good across. Bobby, you summed it up pretty well, I think. So I think we can conclude on just the simple fact that there is no such a thing as a right number of Turbo Jugend members in your Jugend. It's about the quality, more or less, of the people. And if the quality means 6 people, it's great. And if the quality means 35 people, it's evenly great. And as long as the values of Turbo Jugens are held up and people are not behaving like douchebags or assholes, that's perfect. And I think that's the main ambition. And just using this, I want you for Turbo Jugend, using this U.S. Army slogan it might not be the right way of just letting anybody in, because the quality and the fun factor is almost sure to suffer from that. So I thank all of you guys, Jenny, Bobby, and Mickey, for taking your time and discussing this, what I think is a very important and a good topic within the Jugend. I hope to talk to you soon.
The Future by the Turbo A.C.s, straight out of New York City, of their 2003 album Automatic. Well, Automatic seems to be the reaction of Bobby Ramone of Turbo in Oakland in California, as I'm now revealing the sounds of the background of the discussion. And yes, Bobby Ramone was touching himself while doing the discussion for Turbo Radio, so it must be very exciting for him, obviously, to be on Turbo Radio, so he did not hesitate and masturbated publicly while being on Turbo Radio. Bobby, congratulations on being the first guy who openly masturbated on the podcast. I do thank you. That's very manly of you. So, The next segment will be a brand new segment. No, it's not going to be about wanking and masturbation. It will be about the most valuable patch of my jacket, the MVP, where we will be trying to introduce what we think are the greatest patches in the Turbo-Jugend universe, and we give you a glimpse of greatness as far as the production of Turbo-Jugend patches is concerned. Enjoy!
The MVP.
So here we are. The most valuable patch of the month is brought to you by this month by Bobby Ramon from Turbo Oakland. Bobby, say hi to the audience.
Hello, audience. Nice to be here.
So I have your wonderful patch a wonderful patch you sent to me in my hands, and I just cannot take my hands off it because it's really, really well done, and it touches my heart. Maybe you can start describing. Maybe you can tell who you are and start describing what you can see on your patch.
Well, I recently moved to Oakland 2 years ago from Southern California, and moved up here and decided to start a chapter. First thought, obviously, was, well, we need a patch design. So I'll get into it later. I had another idea, and it was getting complicated. And again, we'll talk about it, later if you want to. But then I was sitting at work, and I had a Oakland A's, Oakland Athletics, the baseball team. I had a hat on, and I saw it and just thought, if I added an S to their logo, it would say ass. Perfect. That's it. Perfect. So what it is, it's a round, the Oakland Athletics logo is a round green circle with a gold border. In white letters, it says Oakland on the top and Athletics on the bottom. Well, I changed the Athletics to Turbo-Jugend. In the center, there's a green A with a small S for A's. Well, I just added another S, so it says Oakland Turbo-Jugend, ass in the middle. Perfect. Done. It's clean.
Yeah,
nice.
It was basically a fast idea. I mean, I don't know if any other chapters have a sports team or any logo where you can just add one single letter and as a result have one of the nicest and cleanest and straightest logos you can ever imagine. Because me personally, I'm a huge baseball fan, even though I'm from Europe, and when I got to like baseball in the late 80s, talking about for those of you familiar with it, about the Canseco, McGuire, Lansford, Steinbach era. And my first the team that I liked were exactly the Oakland A's. So when I saw your beautiful patch, and it's really actually well produced. It's a high quality patch as well. I thought, this is it. I mean, there are not many more things in life that can really capture what I like in life, which is, I mean, the only thing lacking from baseball and Turbo-Jugend would probably be pornography. But I don't. As far as the patch goes, this is really it for me. So, how was the feedback you got on the patch?
I went ahead and made 200, and I came back from Vegas with less than 20. I mean, mailed out quite a few, and then my favorite actually was handing them out face to face, which really I believe is, if it's possible, the best way to do it. Everybody said the same thing as you. I was really flattered because it was I almost wish I had spent more time and love actually sitting down and designing it than I did, because the feedback would have been a lot more rewarding. Honestly, it was just like any good design. I think I just looked at it. The second S just kind of appeared, and I went, that's it. Very little thought at all. It was just kind of obvious, But yeah, the feedback was overwhelming, super flattering.
So sometimes I really think that if those things that are really obvious and really easy, and they just come to your mind, that those are just will be the best ideas. Because if it becomes too complicated or too fancy and whatnot, you just disturbing the whole idea of it. And with the Oakland A.C.s instead of the Oakland Athletics, it's just it nailed it basically.
Thank you. Well, originally, what I was what I was talking to you about earlier. My original design was the Oakland Raiders football team. And so I had their logo as a shield with 2 crossed swords and a pirate's face in the middle with a football helmet on. And I thought, it's tough looking. It's the Raiders are like the kind of the, I don't know, I wouldn't say rock and roll, but it's kind of like the darker side of like Oakland sports.
The St. Pauli of football.
Exactly. The St. Pauli of football. So I changed the face in the middle to Hank. And then I got a bunch of flack for it not being Tony. And I thought, well, that's fine. I love Tony. So changed it to Tony. It actually ended up looking better. Like had little red lipstick on it, the makeup on one eye. It was perfect. Then I talked to Big Al from Turbo in Los Angeles. He's been using the Raiders slogan, commitment to excellence. He's changed it to commitment to ass, and had the Raiders logo, because the Raiders were once in Los Angeles. They went from Oakland to Los Angeles, back to Oakland. So it kind of became this like big, I mean, Al was cool with it. We're all family and no big deal. It's just a patch. But it just became this between the Hank versus Tony and between the, not being completely original because of Los Angeles. I was sitting just contemplating, well, what else am I going to do? The Oakland Athletics ass patch just came to me, and I thought, problem solved. I still have the designs for the Raiders one, but I'll never use it. It's it took too much effort,
I know, and then I think Al has some T-shirts of it, so it's probably it's his gimmick now, or his patch now. And I mean, I have to say that I'm looking at it again, I'm touching it, and it's really, really well done. It's just in my life, it's perfect, and this is why it became my MVP, my most valuable patch of the month for sure.
So, thank you so much.
It was really a great job, and I'm so happy to have it. And I'm having an album, and it's actually on the first page of the album where I keep my patches, like a little bit nerdy. I do it, but I like it like this. And
that's a great idea. That's a really good idea, actually.
Yeah, just like for pictures, just the old school pictures when they were not digital, but real pictures.
Yeah. And
they sell it off pretty cheaply because nobody does it, assumingly. So I just, and it's on the first page. The first patch is my MVP of the month, the Oakland A.C.s.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
New York. Yes, we were talking in the discussion to the Turbo New York NYC president about recruiting new members for Turbo. We also heard the future of the Turbo A.C.s, a band from New York City, and this is exactly where we are going to stay. We are going to stay in the tattooed and muscular arms of Kevin Cole, who happens to be the singer of the Turbo A.C.s, and also the president of Turbo in New York City, as he will update us on the history and the current state of Turbo in the Big Apple.
So here we are, Turbo Radio worldwide in New York City. As you might hear from the background noises, I'm with Kevin Cole, singer of the Turbo A.C.s, and also a member of Turbo New York. Kevin.
Turbo New York. Hey ho.
Where are you exactly right now at the moment?
Right now, I'm housed in Suffolk Street, Lower East Side of Manhattan, pretty much where I live. So just normal day here in New York. So everything's good.
Okay, so we've been knowing each other for quite some years. I remember I talked to you at before a gig of the Turbo A.C.s in Vienna. And back then we already had exchanged buttons back then in Munich. We were exchanging buttons of the Turbo New York, and as I followed on the internet and on Facebook, there have been quite some changes and developments in the Turbo in New York. Maybe you can update us on which Jugends were the first Jugend in New York, and how many are really developing, or how many do really exist at the moment?
Well, back in the day when I became a member of Turbo New York, it was Turbo New York originally, and as a gift to me, they sent sent me a jacket for New York. So that was really cool from the Turbo Jugend guys there in Hamburg. And then the president disappeared, and then I adopted the presidency of New York. So as a pretty busy guy, I was kind of not the best president. So I did my best to try and keep things going, as far as like communication with other Jugens and stuff, but it gets crazy because I'm busy with Turbo A.C.s as well. So, so at the moment, I've kind of stepped aside from that and handed the presidency over to someone else, but still a member of New York. But also since then, we've got Turbo Jugend Brooklyn came around, Turbo Jugend Uptown, and Turbo Jugend NYC is around. So there's a lot of Jugens now that are keeping things going here. So it's cool to see.
Mm-hmm. When you're on tour, you're touring basically worldwide, I would say. I mean, I've seen you in Europe, and I can see you're touring the US on a regular basis.
Touring the US, and doing, we've gotten the chance to get down to Australia and that side, but not too much. But we try and keep the wheels on the van,
So I can understand that it's kind of hard being a president while constantly not in town and constantly on tour. Do you bring your jackets on tour when you hit the road with the Turbo A.C.s?
Yeah, for sure. It's like, I always like, and then we, run into other Jugens in other cities, and that's always great. It's always good. We get that support, and those, and then automatically, then we find like the cool people to hang out with, which is what the Jugend is really all about anyway. So,
So do you notice that when you guys are on tour, is there a fair amount of Jugens following you, or at least attending your concerts? Would you say that Turbo A.C.s is a Turbo Jugend band?
Yeah, I think so. We've got a lot of friends in the Jugend, so that's we appreciate that support. That's really cool, and I'm glad. I like to see we get some Turbo A.C.s patches on the jackets, and that's always really cool too.
So you have some sort of a natural Turbo Jugend following with the Turbo Jugend A.C.s wherever you go.
Yeah, well, it was an honor. We got to play, the Jugend Tag in Hamburg a couple times, which was amazing. So we've shared the stage with Turbo Negro a couple times as well. So that was that's always really cool. So.
Would you say you were close to the band? Are you close to Turbo Negro as a band? Are you do you have regular contact, or just by coincidence when you, for some reason, maybe play at the same festival or tour together?
Happy time, Well, whenever we're Happy Time, I guess, and Euroboy, when they're in town, all the time. I was actually just when they were here not too long ago, I was hanging out with Tom, and actually Andrew WK was hanging around because he did some stuff on the new album. So we're comrades in rock and roll, I would have to say. So that's a good thing. Actually, we might be doing something with Andrew WK for New Year's Eve here in New York City, Turbo A.C.s. So we're looking forward to that. That should be cool.
How would you describe the Turbo Jugend scene in New York City? Is it a big scene, or has it been a big scene, or is it getting bigger now with the?
It's getting bigger now. It has been a very small scene. It's been a very small. Well, it's been a pretty small scene in the U.S., to be honest. And pretty rare to see Jugend jackets. And wow, it was like. Actually, but now it's kind of things have really picked up in the U.S. and friends of ours here in the States have kind of picked up the jackets and the kuta and getting them distributed to people. These guys in Colorado are doing a great job.
Yeah, Chuck Maple and the Kuten Factory. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and Self Destructo Records has put out Omega motherfuckers. So that's, and we, I was. Yeah, we did an all-acoustic version of Do You Dig Destruction, so people should take a look for that out there.
Okay, we had just had some connection problems. Were you saying that you guys played on the Omega Motherfuckers acoustic version?
Yeah, well, I couldn't get a Turbo A.C.s track, but I have a side project band, which is an all acoustic band where I play the ukulele and there's accordion and upright bass, and we did a version of Do You Dig Destruction.
Okay, that's interesting because maybe some of the listeners or the people who bought the record might not notice that you are behind the
behind the Let's Get Sushi. Mm-hmm. The group's it's called Let's Get Sushi and Not Pay. It's a Repo Man reference. I don't know if any fans of Repo Man are out there, but it's more of a fun. It's just
go ahead. Like the only Repo Man I really know is from the World Wrestling Federation back in the days, but that's certainly not the Repo Man that you meant.
What's that?
I was just referring to the Repo Man that I know, and this was a gimmick character of the World Wrestling Federation back in the 80s, but that's certainly not the Repo Man that you meant.
No, not that. The Repo Man is, well, everybody should look it up. It's Emilio Estevez, and it's like, and Harry Dean Stanton, and lots of weird punk rock references in there. So, Suicidal Tendencies is in it, and Black Flag. It's Iggy Pop did the theme song. It's good stuff.
Okay, so when you guys are hang out in New York City, which are the bars you usually hang out there, and which area of New York? So if people come to New York, what would be the places that you'll probably be hanging out with if you have a Jugend meeting? Well,
there's quite. I mean, I live in Manhattan, so that's where I hang around, and I always recommend people go check out Manitoba's, which is Handsome Dick Manitoba of the Dictators. That's his bar. Mm-hmm. And then Niagara is the bar where you can see the album cover light work, the neon sign that's on the cover of Sexual Harassment. Is at Niagara, which is right around the corner from Manitoba's.
Yeah, I've been there actually, and I was walking in there and expected some not Jugends in there obviously, but some Jugend related stuff, and I asked the waitress because the cap, the leather cap was not lighted, and I asked her about the leather cap, and she told me that she didn't have any clue what it is, but it turned out that it was her, I think, second day at the bar. She probably could not know that why at the Niagara bar there's this weird looking hat that
doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah, so like I said, the scene here is small, and especially but I mean, there's definitely an uprising lately, which is coming around all over the U.S., which is so it seems late, but hey, better late than never.
Exactly. So in New York City, that would be the Lower East Side. If you meet in Manhattan, is that the place you would?
Yeah. Well, it's good. And then there's the real punk rock bar, which is the Double Down Saloon, which is right down the street from all of that. So there's like 3 places right in the area, but Double Down Saloon is probably where you're going to get all your more better music and like cheapest beers and
is that the place where you can basically sit on the like inside but really close to the sidewalk on 2 sides? Is that the place? They also have their own merch store. It's close to Houston, I think.
Yeah, that's the place, and there's a big sign that says "You puke, you clean." So that's
exactly that was that. I remember that. Mm-hmm.
So that's the place. That's where you can find me most of the time if I'm out. So
yeah, that's a really cool place, and I can only highly recommend that. Is the Motor City Bar in the Lower East Side still up?
Motor City Bar is gone. So that's kind of sad because that was a really cool place. a lot of places end up disappearing, but then new places have to open up. So there's a lot of things going on still. So, we might have to move out of one place to get it to another. But
I get it. So, are you organizing anything in New York City? Any Turbo Jugend events that's just for Jugend itself, for the Jugend itself?
Well, we're all trying to get together. And we always try to get together when there's like when Turbo Negro comes to town or something like that. But I still have some work to do with getting all the chapters united. So, but we're coming together. I'm slowly getting it in order.
Are you talking about the chapters in New York City, or also the New Jersey chapters?
Well, the Jersey chapters gets kind of far away. So there's a lot of like New York City chapters, and there's a lot of like kids in New York that want they want Kuta, and they want to be a part of it. So we're trying to make sure everybody knows what to do.
So there's still enough work to do in New York City itself. Okay.
Yeah. Even though I'm not president, I'm still getting sucked into it.
Yeah, you cannot help it. It just happens naturally. So
yeah.
Okay, it was cool talking to you. Maybe you can tell the audience about the Turbo A.C.s. Are they going to be on tour in the next time, within the next month?
Turbo A.C.s are like in the putting together a new album, and that's kind of slowly coming along, but it is definitely happening. So we're taking a break from touring so much. We might do some things around New York City and the U.S. and around here to every once in a while. So, but we're gonna keep everybody an ear out for the new album. It's gonna be called Radiation.
When is that gonna be out?
Not sure yet. We're still working on it and still putting the songs together. So it's taking a little longer than we expected, but it is coming.
Okay, so we're talking about next year.
Talking about next year, yeah.
Yeah. So is there a slight?
So this summer we'll be here.
Okay, so is there a slight chance that you guys the Turbo A.C.s could be open to play at the World Turbo Jugendtage next year in the summer, if they happen, which I assume?
Well, it's always possible. We'll see. Sometimes we do the unexpected, which is what we like to do.
Okay, so we'll keep the hopes up, and maybe lucky enough to see you guys play in Europe at some venues, or even at the World Turbo Jugendtage.
Hell yeah! All right.
Okay, Kevin, I thank you for taking your time for Turbo Jugend Radio. Have a nice day in New York City. Enjoy the time, and all the best for the album.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah. To all the Jugend out there, keep the faith.
So this has been the first episode of Turbo Jugend Radio in the year 2014. As we continue to bring you news and updates of the denim universe and Turbo Jugend worldwide. If you guys have anything to share, I'm talking about new ideas, new topics you would like to have discussed, don't hesitate, hit me up, find me on Facebook, search for Chepesta, or drop me an email to radio@turbojugend.org. Get in contact, we'll talk a little bit, and you're on the show. It's easy as that. Or another idea, if you want to share the patch for the new segment, the MVP, the most valuable patch, same thing, hit me up, get in contact, and you'll be on Turbo Jugend Radio if the patch is nice enough. To end the show, it's Bengal time again. Bengal picks music for you on a monthly basis to widen your horizon. So he also did that this month, so he was a good boy, he did his homework, and enjoy the last segment of the show. Enjoy the cream puff of the month.
The cream puff of the month, brought to you by Bengal. For the last episodes, I supplied you with my cream puff of the month. But now it's time for a change. I want to hear your cream puffs. So please post me your greatest songs on the Turbojugend Facebook site or write me an email to radio@turbojugend.org. I got the cream puff of this episode from Janevi, or better known as El Comandante from Australia. This time we hear Give It Up, the last song of the album Crash Beat by Mule Train. I didn't find too much info about this band. They were from Spain and probably they broke up. But their records still exist. So hear them and love them. So once again, Give It Up by Mule Train.